Good morning. Do you like that? There's another one of those fakey entrances. Like the camera's just rolling all along and I just happen to be coming in. Here's a more realistic take. Good morning. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that last episode with the magic wand. It was a bottle episode. That's what we call it in the biz. It was like that episode of Breaking Bad where Walter White just spent the whole episode trying to kill a fly. So the magic wand was, you know, just for fun. I don't think it added to the overall story arc here. Plus, it provides a little bit of evergreen content. And that's what those of us YouTube insiders like to call content that people are going to be searching for over and over again. It's just repeated revenue. But then I got to ask myself, how many people are realistically going to be searching for a magic floating wand? Oh, I got your magic floating wand. All right, I got a lot more stuff to go over today. First of all, I want to show you what I've decided to do about my Catification in the dining room. Let me take you up there. So you may remember this cabinet that I want to do something with and just get all of these books and all this junk out of there. It's just a mess. So my initial thought was to demo it, to rip it all out, including this bottom cabinet here. But the more I got to thinking about it, I thought, really, all I got to do is just remove these shelves and I can do some catification in this with modular units that all I need to do is just screw into the sides. I won't even need to remove that mirror from the back. And that way, once the cats get completely bored with it, which inevitably cats tend to do, I can just remove it and do something else with. Another thought I have that I might do is down here, I might cut a hole in that part, and so that they can get down into this lower part, I'll just remove these doors. So the idea is once they get up to this top part here, there'll be a ledge that they can walk out on here that will go all the way around the room, and then they can come down that way. First of all, check out this thing that I discovered. It's like an acrylic dome, and it's mainly for fences so dogs can look out of the fence like that. But check this out. So here's my initial design. I'm sure this is going to change a lot, but this is the opening right here with the shelves removed, and then this would just be the wall over on this side. So right here is that dome, so the cats can jump up into this area, or they can just jump onto here and then go into here. But if they want to get up to this next level, they're going to have to go in there and then come up through this hole. And then there's plenty of room over here for them to jump up to this little platform. And this will be, I think, I'll probably just use a 2x4 rather than a round cylinder. And then I'll just cover it in like sisal rope, or maybe some carpet of some sort. And so this is just like a little cage area here, a little perch, and then a cat hammock right here. So then from those two, they can leap over to this section here, which will extend out just a little bit. It's a catwalk. And then they'll jump up to these platforms, and this is right near the ceiling, like 7 inches from, or 8 inches from the ceiling. So this will go over to this wall, and then it wraps back around. I haven't really figured all that part out yet, but so far I think this is a good work in progress. Oh, and all of these pieces are going to be modular. So like this bottom section here can all be one unit. This here can all be one unit, and then they'll just screw into the sides of the cabinet, so there's just minimal damage involved. So what do you think, huh? I think this is going to be just a ton of fun to make this and kind of experiment with different shapes and textures. One of the things cats really like is varied textures. They don't like everything necessarily to be soft. We as humans we tend to think that all animals want a nice, soft, cushy spot, when in fact, a lot of times cats prefer hard surfaces. It's one of the reasons sometimes you see cats and then maybe they're outside and they're on top of some rocks or someplace that just looks totally uncomfortable, but to them, they really like that feeling. That lucite dome, I think, is just gonna be so cool. I got that idea from Kittysaurus channel. Okay, you watch YouTube long enough and you get in these kicks where you just like obsess over one channel for a while, and I'm really obsessed with Kittysaurus. It's this Korean woman who has 7 cats, and she just puts them through these various challenges, but the channel is just so fun and so charming, and you get to know all of the cats. It's kind of like watching a vlog. It's a cat vlog. Of course, you do realize I'm real quickly becoming a crazy cat lady.
Woodworking, 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 woodworking.
Hey, I think I hear something. I know what it is. It's that jingle you love. Hey, we're up to F. F is for Featherboard. A Featherboard is a safety accessory and it helps you get better, more accurate cuts. The purpose of a Featherboard is to apply pressure against your workpiece and keep it riding against the fence. Most of the time I use it with my table saw, but I've also used it on my router table. I've got a number of Featherboards, but this is my favorite, made by Craig, and it fits into my miter slot like this, and then it's fully adjustable. All this is a series of flexible tines all angled in one direction. So it keeps your workpiece from kicking back and it keeps it pressed against the rip fence. Usually I use this for resawing a board like this, that if I was to run it through without a Featherboard, it's real tippy and likely to slip out. So what this does is it slides up against it just like that, and I can tighten it down. And it doesn't require a lot of pressure on there. So then it feeds through easily this way, but it won't go backwards without a lot of effort. I wouldn't attempt this kind of cut without a Featherboard to add some extra stability to this workpiece. One thing to keep in mind is when you're setting up a Featherboard that it goes on the in feed side of the blade. You don't want to set up your Featherboard over here, because then the cut's already been made and it's just going to be pressing it against the blade. And same thing, you don't want to set up a Featherboard behind the blade. So always in front of the blade. A Featherboard can also be used in this direction if you were to clamp it against your rip fence to add as an extra safety measure and keep the wood from kicking back. If you're interested in these Craig Featherboards, I'll include a link down in the description. And while they are easier to set up, there's no reason why you need to buy Featherboards. You can easily make your own. Here's a couple of versions that I've made. All you need to do is just take a wide board and then cut it at a 20-degree angle and then just run it using your rip fence and make a series of these tines. They don't have to be equally spaced or anything. You don't need to measure it out or get exact about any of it. I've got this long one here so that I can clamp it to the top of my table saw back here, and then the shorter one I can use on my router table. Featherboard is a surprisingly effective accessory. I highly recommend having one or two or even more in your shop. Hey, I should have an update on the Shoeshine box next time. Antonio and I are mostly figuring out dimensions, but an interesting thing happened when I showed him my preliminary design and the plans. On the inside view, he was confused about the construction, and he asked if there was an inner box of some sort. It took me a second before I realized that what he was looking at was the rabbet joints. And for somebody who's never made any rabbet joints before, that's definitely what the drawing looks like. It looks like two pieces of wood stacked together. In fact, you can make rabbets that way. But it was a perfectly reasonable, valid question, and one that I'm really glad that Antonio asked, because it reminded me of a couple of important things. First, to always remind myself of the mission of Woodworking for Mere Mortals. As much as I try to keep this channel focused on the beginning woodworker, it's easy for me to sometimes just gloss over some of the tools or techniques or procedures that I just take for granted just because I've used them so much. The second, more important thing is to never be afraid to ask questions. It's amazing how many questions I hear that start out something like this. They'll say, "Total newbie here, sorry if this is a dumb question," or "Sorry to ask you this, you've probably already covered it a million times." Any hobby can seem overwhelmingly intimidating at first. Just approaching a table saw for the very first time can be kind of a bravery test. Aspects of woodworking can seem intimidating or confusing even to somebody like me who's been doing this for over 40 years. Hey, just last week I was having troubles with that slipping router bit and you guys helped me out. And if you'll remember, I was able to get a much better understanding of biscuit joiners last year with your help. I still don't find it the most useful tool, but I completely understand why people love them. This channel is a place where all questions are valid and treated with the respect they deserve. I absolutely love it when people ask the most basic questions. It shows a genuine curiosity about learning a big topic. It's an exciting time. I envy you. It's kind of like how I envy somebody who's just discovered a movie or a band that I've loved for years. With this community, we raise each other up. One of the things you might notice after watching YouTube for a while is that you can very quickly evaluate a channel by scanning through the comments. Some channels lean toward more antagonistic, cynical, or confrontational comment sections, while others lean toward intelligent, insightful, and, well, even just entertaining comments. So if you are ever uncertain about something that I do or show in a video that I make, ask a question. People love to help. And if you have an answer, post a reply. The original poster is just going to be thrilled that someone took the time to read and comment on his question. And in a lot of cases, this can lead to valuable discussion that you just really can't get from a Google search. Don't ever feel awkward or uncomfortable seeking knowledge. And just a reminder, if you're interested in learning woodworking from the ground up with no experience necessary, I've got a course that will help you get started, no intimidation involved. It's called The Weekend Woodworker, and I'd like for you to get started by downloading my free guide to how you can set up shop for under $1,000. Head over to mytoollist.com. Yes, got in a plug. I'll see you guys later.